start with, my name is Rafic Habib. I am the Managing Director for Clinovera for APAC. I've been in the digital health space for about 28 years. I'm not a clinician, but I've worked alongside practices from GP specialists to hospitals in New South Wales and across Australia for the last 28 years. So I have a special understanding and appreciation for the space and the stress that it goes under. So thanks, Josh.
Yeah, thanks, Rafic. So I'm Josh Bunting, Managing Director for ZHealth. Primarily our company looks after data analytics and also a lot in the interoperability space.
Okay, please allow us to do a little bit of shameless self-promotion before we get into the technical aspect of the presentation. Clinovera is a 15-year-old company. We're part of First Line Software, which is 450 engineers around the world. We're headquartered in the USA. We have been a global partner with InterSystems for the similar time that we've existed, for about 13, 15 years. And I'll talk about that separately in some of the projects we've done. We do a lot of work in the interoperability space, which is why we're here. We specialize on the iris side of things. Josh and his team specialize with the track care side of things, and this is why we've come together here. We work with healthcare providers, pharmaceuticals, government departments, and technology companies in general. And obviously we have presence in Australia as well.
Yeah, so just ZHealth at a glance. So 20 plus years experience in the industry. Our focus on data analytics, interoperability. We work with SWA, who's here today, with Austin Health, with Genesis Care, and research agencies across ANZ.
Okay, a little bit about the healthcare sector, and I'm not here to regurgitate what you already know. We know that the sector is often under stress, under pressure. The ecosystem is complex. A patient's journey is not in one location. It often starts with your family doctor, GP. You might end up in a hospital, and then you might end up having home care. So it's a complex journey, and it's very unique and very different for every patient. The healthcare system is literally the sum of these transactions, patient-clinician interactions, right? But every interaction creates a set of data. And often this bit of data lives in different places. Not to mention the sector is, there's not enough people, not enough funding. We always need more people. We need more time with patients. But the good thing about all that is that this also creates the opportunities. This is why most people in this room are here, to try and make the system better. Everybody's putting effort, energy, and trying to create that better outcome for our patients, and hence the opportunity. So without the challenges, there wouldn't be opportunity, in my opinion. And that's why we're here, trying to do our bit to solve some of the problems. A little bit again about what we've done with InterSystems. We've done, so last I checked, we've done like 70, 80 projects around the world. But there's a few here that are worth mentioning. So locally, we do a number of projects with South Australia Health. I don't know if they're in the room. They were in the room earlier, but we do some work with Macquarie. We do some non-healthcare work as well. Most of it is around iris, whether it's integrations, interoperability, fire projects. But globally, it's worth mentioning a couple of other projects. We've done some work with MGB, which is my Discharge PAL, which is similar to Discharge Summary. We turned it into a fire-based solution. It's also worth talking about the immunisation repository project that we did. It was an amalgamation of 11 hospitals, and we brought the data from disparate systems into a single iris environment. Again, that was a lot of data, but it was a very cool project to make happen. Probably last not least is the OMOP project, data extraction I2B2, which we did this with InterSystems, and that work got published into the community. Josh? How do you hide your diagnosis from a surgeon?
Tell me, Rafic, tell me.
Put it in the paper chart. This is not to diss doctors, right, or surgeons. We're not trying to do that. What we're saying here is that there is so much data out there, and we're all humans and we're all busy, and I've seen surgeons operate, I've seen doctors operate, and there's so much data, it's easy to miss something. So which brings us to why we're here and what we're trying to do together. So one of the tools that we've got a demo of, and we've also got a booth, we both have booth up there, and we're in the partner pavilion, the tables, and what we're doing is we're working together to try and solve some of these problems. This particular solution is called the UDP, Unified Data Platform. So we can ingest data whether it's structured or unstructured, multiple formats. We can get feeds out of track care, or we can get a fax that's come in or a PDF, ingest that data, use optical character recognition, OCR, or use and AI tools together to understand what's in the file, and then allow you to interrogate that data. So a clinician could easily ask questions similar to what you saw today with IntelliCare, or you could then output that data, code it, and output it into a file, which can be consumed and used by others in the ecosystem, whoever needs to use it. So a pretty cool solution. It's basically an example of what is possible.
I'll let you take that meme in for a second. So I think if you've used AI, you would relate to this meme. But I think what's important here is that we need to acknowledge that technology we can get it wrong. And we have to set an expectation with our end users that we can get it wrong. I think earlier, before Emmeline touched on it, that it's really important for us as the technologists to provide these safeguards, these guardrails for AI and for these technology solutions, so that we do no harm. But it is true. I'm not sure, if you've argued with ChatGPT before, but it never argues back. It says, yes, you're right. So is this a system that we can rely on? Often, yes, if we give it the right guardrails. So here's a bit of a personal story of mine. That's me with my son at Bendigo Hospital last year. The Bendigo people, well done. So my son broke his arm at a basketball tournament, and I was quietly excited because it meant that I got to go to Bendigo Hospital and see their track care implementation. Anyway, when we arrived, I was speaking to the clinicians. I was saying, surely we can integrate our track care environments. We have track care in Bendigo, and we have track care in Darwin, and Darwin's where I'm from. And we know the technology's there, but for whatever reason, the policies and the legislation hasn't yet enabled us to share EMR data in real time. So up here in the right-hand corner, you can see a picture of his X-ray, and that was a photo I took of the clinician's screen when he showed me the break in the consultation at Bendigo. And then there's various forms that were printed out. There's consent forms, there's other photos of X-rays, discharge summaries. And in the end, I had a huge pack of data of paper that they'd printed for me that I had to take back to Darwin physically with me. And this really got under my nerves because I knew we could share this via interoperability. So this is just one example of discharge summaries. And we know the importance of a discharge summary, how it aids in the transition of care between an acute care setting, a hospital setting, and primary care into our GPs. And Rafic and I have been doing some research across the country, and we've discovered that on average, it takes almost 16 minutes for a clinician to produce or author or to finalise a discharge summary in the medical specialty, and almost 12 minutes for surgical, and it's about an average of 15 minutes across the two. But what we've understood is that there's a huge opportunity in this space for us to solve the problem and the burden that the clinicians have in finalising discharge summaries and using AI. One other point I wanted to make here is that up to 30% of discharge summaries never reach a GP. And we know for a fact that if we don't successfully deliver a discharge summary to a GP, their chances of readmission into a hospital, back to that same hospital, grows by 1.6% each day that they don't receive a discharge summary. So here's a bit of a snapshot of total separations across 23-24. We can see there that Victoria is leading the way.
Machete bins? No.
New South Wales is not far behind, but you can see per year we have a national total of 7.5 million thereabouts of total separations, so episodes, discharges. So if we quantify that, we say, okay, for every discharge, it takes on average 15 minutes. We're talking about 5,000 clinician hours per day across the country. It's a huge amount of time that's required to finalise a discharge summary. I also want to mention the other smaller states and territories like Tassie and ACT and the NT. We all share the same problems. No matter what jurisdiction you go to, we have very high rates in some areas. ED seem to struggle with finalising discharge summaries because of the nature of the work that they do. So how do we fix this problem? That's the key, right? So you can see up here, this is a very high level view of the solution that we've prototyped. So in this instance, TrackCare sends structured data elements that are required to generate or finalise a discharge summary. So we all know what they are. There's patient details, hospital details, diagnosis procedures, allergies, and so forth. But often the junior registrars or whoever's completing these discharge summaries, they spend a lot of their time and effort chasing the information. They have to log into multiple systems in order to finalise a discharge summary. And what this solution does here is it passes these structured data elements into UDP. This is the Universal Data Platform. And this platform then generates the clinical notes and passes those notes back to TrackCare for the clinician to validate that those notes are correct and finalise the discharge summary. Now, to quantify the time saved, it's very difficult, but we know that this is a large burden to the clinicians, is to create discharge summaries. And in some states, we have very low rates of discharge summaries that are never completed. What's the benefits here? So the benefits, quite simply, are we're looking to reduce the drafting time from, say, 10 minutes to 120 minutes down to just minutes. We want to ensure completeness and consistency. I think that's another important factor here. And we also want to make sure that the discharge summary is ready for when the patient leaves the hospital or leaves that facility. Because we know that if the patient leaves the hospital with the discharge summaries, their post-discharge care is much more effective. We also want to decrease the readmissions by successfully transitioning our patients from a hospital setting to a primary or community care setting. And we know that when patients are discharged and they have an appointment that's scheduled post-discharge, they have far better outcomes.
Just a quick wrap up, I guess. We are both technologists, both companies, both people very passionate about the healthcare space. Interoperability is a topic that is very dear to us in the space. It's something that we've been talking about for years and years, and it's good to be working with a company like InterSystems that allows you to deliver interoperability at the highest level. So understanding the IRIS platform and being able to deliver around that and allowing you to connect track to other things we feel like is a very important part of the healthcare journey. AI and data processing. So yes, there's a lot of hype around AI. I by no means believe that AI is a clinical replacement. It's an enhancement tool. It's an efficiency gain tool that needs to be used in the right way in the healthcare sector. And data underpins that. So it doesn't exist. It doesn't work without data and without having your data ready and preparing for the outcomes that you want to achieve out of AI. Solutions in general, building solutions, again, that's something that we're passionate about, whether it's reporting out of track for ZHealth, whether it's you want to build applications specifically, or AI tools. These are areas that we specialize in and would love to support. And hopefully we can leverage our experience and knowledge in the space to support any healthcare organization. Between us, we have about 40 years, probably. He's got 30, I've got 10. And once again, thank you so much for the InterSystems team for having us today. And if you want to connect, please connect online or come and see us in the pavilion.